Okay, so you guys are rock stars. You made it through another long week of video sessions. Congratulations. And we are now ready for a moment in dosage calc. So relaxing. I know you all agree. Anyway, I'm going to show you how problems can get a little bit more complicated and still work using dimensional analysis. I know you guys are really rock stars. I saw that in your math quiz, that you really were pretty good at plugging in the numbers and doing your computations. So we're going to make a little bit more of a complicated problem using IV fluids that have some dextrose in it. And you'll see how adaptable that is. All right, ready, set, go. Let's start with our scenario. The nurse is caring for a client who is NPO, or nothing by mouth, so it's appropriate to try and replace some nutrients somehow. To this effect, the provider ordered an infusion of 5% dextrose in water, or D5W, to run at 125 mLs per hour. How many grams of dextrose does a patient receive daily from this infusion? And my hint was that when you're dealing with IV fluids, we consider 1 gram to be equivalent to 1 ml. So when we work out our percentage, it kind of works out that way. And then we'll break it down into how many kilocalories the patient receives daily from this infusion. And if you know how many calories is in a gram of carbohydrate, you can work that out fairly easily. So give me a second to put that up there in dimensional analysis. Okay, so now let's go ahead and set up our problem. We start with the end in mind. So for me, I want to know what's in my answer. I want to know how many grams of dextrose will the patient receive in a day. So let's start there. I'm going to draw my little line across. There. Oh, that makes me so happy. Okay. So now we know that we need all of the things, anything that's a gram of dextrose has to be on top, and if it's a day, it goes on bottom, and everything else should cancel out. So let's go ahead. I see 5 grams of dextrose. And how did I get 5 grams of dextrose to 100 mLs of water? Well, it's a 5% solution, and that means if 1 gram equals 1 ml, to get 5%, it's 5 grams for every 100 mLs. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, stop the tape and think about it for a second, because you'll see it does make sense. Now we need our day on the bottom, so let's go ahead and put that there. And 24 hours is the same as 1 day. Okay, we have this solution running at 125 mLs per hour. So we'll make sure that our hours cancel out, and we have mLs will cancel out. So let's go ahead and do that. Cancel out our mLs, cancel out our hours. They're not in the answer, so what we're left with is grams of dextrose over a day. Okay, so we know we set the problem up right, and we multiply it out. Let me give you that. Okay, so you see I multiplied across, make that a little bit bigger. And now you can be really simple with this and just, cross out the zeros, and you end up with 150 grams of dextrose. And that's your answer. A day. Okay, so now that we have that, and we want to know how many calories this patient's receiving, give me 1 minute, I'll kind of clean this up and give you a new equation. Okay, so I put some things up on the whiteboard, and I'll explain them. I start with my answer. I begin with the end in mind. Let me highlight that for you. That's that kilocalories per day. How many calories per day is this person getting from this infusion? And then I have some things. I know that dextrose is a carbohydrate, and that carbohydrates have 4 kilocalories per gram. So I kind of put those off to the bottom. I'll put my highlighter on. You can see they're over here. I didn't put them on top of each other because I want to make sure I can move them to where I need them. And I know from the last problem that this patient was getting 150 grams per dextrose a day. So I have enough information to solve this problem. Like I said, I started with the end in mind. Now I need to make sure my day is on the bottom. And I want kilocalories on the top, and I want my grams of dextrose to cancel out, so this is pretty easy peasy. Put that there. Some of you probably looked at this problem and said, I don't even need to do that, Professor Mulcahy. All I need to do is multiply 4 by 150. And you're right, but this kind of proves you right, because you can cancel out, grams of dextrose, And what you're left with is that kilocalories per day. Sorry, just making those little notations. So you can see you're left with what you wanted. And you got rid of everything you didn't want. So now you can just multiply across. And I'm not going to type that one in. I'm just going to kind of write it with my little finger stylus here. We have 600, not as neat, but 600 kilocalories per day. And that's what that person's receiving. So namaste. See you in class. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.